Hey, friends, and welcome back to another monologue episode for season 5 of Thriving Thoughts. I'm your host, Dr. Sherri. It's so good to be back with you again this Friday evening. I'm recording a little late today just because I was really wanting to create an episode that imparted some additional wisdom to you about how you're choosing to share what you're sharing with friends. Last monologue episode, you'll notice that was episode number 123, talked about how to benefit from confession. In other words, how to share vulnerably in truth with your friends. And today I want to talk further about how honesty can be the cornerstone of your friendships. And honesty is a two-way street. So today you're going to learn how do you practice honesty in a practical way within your friendship. How do you practice being honest about yourself? And how do you practice being honest about your friend to your friend? Because those are two very different things. And I'm going to show you today how I believe being honest on those two levels, being honest about sharing about who you are and being honest with your friend about themselves, how that deepens the intimacy of a relationship. It strengthens the bond of your friendship. Those ride or die friendships that you have, they hinge upon your willingness to be honest. I found this quote that I really like, and it says, being honest may not get you a lot of friends, but it'll always get you the right one. So let's just talk about being honest in a friendship for a minute. A lot of times people say, if you care enough, you'll be honest with me. I don't think it's a matter of caring. I think it's a matter of how safe you feel. Because we don't share, we tend to be not honest or maybe not as forthcoming as we might be when we don't feel safe. And so let's address that. Let's address this first part of I want to deepen my friendships. I want to deepen my relationships. I want to strengthen that bond. And in doing that, I know I need to be honest. But let's talk about the prerequisite for that I talked a little bit about last monologue episode. But do you feel safe? A while back I did a study on the word insecurity and how that can sometimes be tossed about as an insult. Like, you're just insecure, that's why you do this, or you're just insecure, that's why you can't do this. And when you break down insecurity, rather than an insult, it gives us insight. Because insecurity means apart from safety. It means that if I feel like I am separate, apart from safety, you're right, I feel insecure. But that's not an insult, that's insight. And if you're in a friendship right now and you're feeling insecure, that means you're not feeling safe in that friendship. It's possible that you don't feel safe in that friendship because in the past, you've been honest with that person about some things, and then they haven't been there for you. They kind of dropped the ball on that secret that you shared with them or the need that you shared with them. Maybe you asked them to help you with something, or maybe you said, hey, I'm lonely and just need someone to check in on me, and they didn't. So maybe that's why you're not feeling safe with them. And I would argue that maybe then that is not your person. It doesn't mean that that's not your person at all, but maybe it's not your person to be honest with about those particular things that they dropped the ball on. It doesn't mean that they're a bad person. It doesn't mean that they don't care. It just means they're not that friend to you. And it's important for you to redefine your friendship. We're going to talk about defining friendship, what that means to you, and how that looks a little different with every friend that we have. But for right now, I just want you to consider, do you feel safe in your friendship? Do you feel confident that if you shared something in confidence, that it would stay in confidence? I talked with a friend the other day, and she said to me, you're the only friend. Well, one of two friends. She said, you are the only one of two friends that I never feel the need to say just between me and you. And I think that's a really good rule of thumb that if you have to say just between me and you, it probably means you haven't developed that deep, deep bond yet with that person. Because friends who have that deep bond, who have a history of being honest with one another, it's kind of understood that you're not going to divulge any information that they shared with you because it's not your story to tell, right? So you might be thinking, how do I know if I'm safe? How do I know if I feel safe? Well, give yourself more credit than you've been giving yourself. You know, when you have that sick to your stomach feeling, that means you don't feel safe, right? Now, you might have that at first when you share in a friendship. That might happen because that's what happens when we're honest with people that we've never been honest with before. When we share something with somebody that's a level of personal, confidential, sensitive information that we've never shared before, we are going to be a little nervous. We're testing the waters. We don't feel 100% safe. So, safety is something you feel in your bones with your friend. You feel it in your heart. You know it in your head, but you feel it. I like to say your people feel like home. Now, that's why it's really important for you to understand that that level of intimacy is rare. Not that not everybody has it. I think everybody has the opportunity to have it if they want it, but it's rare, meaning not all of your friends are going to be your people, to be honest with. And that's okay. You might have one friend that you feel like you can share everything with. I know for me, being honest about what's going on with me, I do that at a very measured pace. I have four very close friends. One of them knows a lot of intimate details about one area of my life, and the other one might know more about another area. But that's because they each meet a need of mine in a unique way that only they can do. It doesn't mean that the other friends don't care about me. It just means that, whatever is going on with you, all of it isn't for everybody, right? All of it isn't for one person. You have to hold some stuff sacred and understand that there might be more than one person with whom you share intimate details, with whom you divulge information about you. Now, let's get to why it's important to be honest with your friends. When I say honest, I'm not saying sharing your opinion. We'll get to that in a second. I'm talking about being honest with what's going on with you. Listen, if you want someone to love you, to cherish you, to be your ride or die friend, the only way that that can happen on an authentic level is if they know you authentically. And the only way they're going to know you authentically is if you are honest about what's going on internally. A lot of times our friends can see what's going on externally, but they are not, like is nobody, right? Nobody's a mind reader. Nobody is privy to what goes on with you internally. And it's a privilege in an attachment relationship, in a securely attached relationship. It's a privilege to share that information with somebody because that's the only thing that strengthens the bond. So maybe for you, you're in a position and there's something going on in your life that you've shared with no one. And there's part of you and you're like, oh, I really want to share this with my friend, but I don't know how they're going to react. Listen, you're still at a place where you feel insecure. You feel apart from safety. That's okay. You'll get there. I encourage you, though. This is how you can start to be honest with your ride or die, with your friend. So if you're nervous about having a conversation, that's normal, but don't let your nervousness, your feeling, don't let that dictate your reality. Instead, try this. Try going to your friend and saying, hey, listen, there's something going on with me. I haven't told anybody. I really want to tell you. I promise I'm going to tell you in my time. I just needed to tell you that there's something there. Now, your friend who's a ride or die, they can respond in any way they choose. They might say something like, oh, you can't do that now. You've got to tell me. Or they might say, thank you for your honesty. I'll wait. I'll wait until you're ready to tell me, and I'm here for you. Is there anything I can do for you in the meanwhile? But be prepared for either response, and that it's up to you to decide when to be honest, when to divulge. Remember that in a ride or die friendship, your friend is there for you. They love you just the way they are, and they will refuse to leave you that way. They want to see you grow, flourish, and prosper. Now, that takes me to the second level of honesty. And this is when you're giving your friend feedback or an opinion. Look, this is what we do in friendships, right? We go to each other and we say, hey, this is going on. What do you think about, right? We ask our dear friends what their opinion is. We care what they think. But by and large, I think the reason that we do that is because we doubt ourselves. We doubt that we're making the right decision. Sometimes we just need to hash it out so that we can come to the right decision. I have a couple of rules of thumb for when it comes to being honest with your friend when they are sharing something with you. And this is the first one. Okay, thanks for sharing that with me. Do you want my opinion or do you just want me to listen? Ask that because your friend may not be well versed in saying, hey, listen, I don't want your opinion. I just want you to listen. But I want to backtrack. Remember, a ride or die friend, if you really love somebody and you care about them, you want the best for them. You don't want whatever makes them happy. In fact, I found this quote I want to read to you here that I do not agree with. And it says this. It says, just be honest and true to yourself. If your friends around you love you, they'll wish you the best and want only what's going to make you happy. Friends, I don't know about you, but I have looked into some stuff and gone and made some decisions that made me happy in the moment that were not good for me. That's when we need a friend to say, hey, listen, this isn't good for you. This is not going to be helpful to you. I know that right now it's making you happy, but I got to tell you what I see coming down the line because of this. That is something that you owe to your friend. That is a level of honesty that you owe when they're not seeking your opinion, but it's something that you're discerning. Discerning is another word for what's going on in your gut. You're feeling something when they're sharing something. You're getting an uneasy feeling. That is something to share without asking. But other than that, other than being concerned for the person's welfare, if they're sharing something with you about a decision that they're making or something that's on their mind, it's wise to ask them, do you want me to just listen? Or would you like me to share my opinion? The other thing I think it's really important for us as friends to help our friends trust themselves. You see, that's part of friendship is to help each other grow. And so one of the things that we can do is we can ask questions when our friend shares something with us. Instead of just giving an opinion, I think you should do X, Y, or Z. What if we said something like, what would happen if you did this? Or what do you think the outcome would be if you made this decision? Getting your friend to process that information for themselves out loud with you, it's just like them having a conversation with themselves without you really even making an opinion or stating an opinion. That can help your friend grow, flourish, and prosper because they're learning to work through something. And this is not about you telling them you don't need me. Your friend does need you. That's why they're sharing that with you. They, even if all they need you to do is to be a mirror and to ask them questions, they need you. So be there for them and be honest in that way by asking questions. And friendship, ride or die friendships particularly, are not for the non-committal. Listen, honesty has to go both directions. So I want you to be aware that one, if you're being honest and you're sharing intimate details, being vulnerable in truth, like I talked about in episode 123, if you're doing that and you're feeling secure in doing that, but you're also feeling like maybe your friend doesn't do the same with you, have a conversation. Don't just complain like, I always share stuff with you, but you don't share stuff with me. Just have a conversation. Ask them, hey, do you feel safe with me? I want you to feel safe with me. And it's not even about you doing anything so that they feel safe because you can't possibly do that. But you can say, I'm here for you. You're safe with me. You can reassure your friends in that way without begging them to share information with you. And they will in their own time, just as you will share what's going on with you in your own time. So, friends, you make honesty the cornerstone of your friendship. You strengthen your friendship with honesty by being honest in your time about what's going on with you, by having a conversation that says, oh, I really got something going on, but I'm just not ready to share with you, but I really want to. Just be honest about what's going on with you. That goes so far in terms of building that strength, that bond in a relationship. And use some of those tips that I recommended. Ask your friend, do they want your opinion or do they just want your support? Ask them questions as they're trying to make a decision or solve a problem in their lives. Help them grow, help them learn to trust themselves. Be the voice outside of them that says, yes, you can do this. Invite honesty into your friendship today and watch it grow even deeper into that ride or die nature of a friendship. Remember to share your favorite takeaway from today's episode on your Instagram story. Tag at Dr. Sherri Use the hashtag Thriving Thoughts with Dr. Sherri, and you'll be entered to win a personally autographed and mailed to you from me copy of my book, Breakup Breakthroughs. And if you don't want the book, but you want to enter the drawing for somebody else, we can make that happen too. Friends, please remember that I have a Thriving Thoughts texting community. You can join that intimate community and communicate directly with me. A few times per week, I send you text messages. I send you challenges, practical ways to apply Thriving Thoughts to your everyday life. You can try it free for 14 days. All you need to do is text the word Thrive to 540-369-2139. All right, friends, until next time, remember to speak truth over the lies, and I promise you'll thrive in any and every circumstance.